Oh, start backing it up now.
I'm so interested.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it.
For doing
So you're selling all your trains in?
Rick Stein, you remember Rick Stein?
The tall guy.
We calculated that we sold it for the first thing we sold 2 years ago.
Oh, goodness gracious. You know, I just find that remarkable. There's a builder building new homes about 3 miles from my house, right? They start at 800 grand. And that gets you the lot and the frame. Right? If you want a house, you're looking at 1.8.
Yeah,
Right? And I looked at that and I said to the lady, who in the hell are this? It's mostly people coming from California with lots of money in their pockets. Okay.
Mike Dietrich's not here today either?
Who?
Mike Dietrich,
Mike's not here.
your vice president. He ran the camera.
Yep.
so just doing that thing might
Right, for the dirt. Those things. That's fine. I told my wife, the only way you're getting me out of this house is
I'm going to set this thing next to you, all right?
Okay.
See if we can get a decent.
Flat, everything's flat, ready. I do FedEx some bigger packages.
Yeah, we lost a couple of our tags. And then you can say all of them, like, we have about 10. And 2 of these
So we have an arborist.
Well, I was going to wait until the spring.
I gave him the street
From now
address.
until the there you go.
But it's going to be. This shot.
Right.
And it's either where the going under the gravel or just under the gravel is so so that's all I got. So I'm looking for probably 15. It's just got to go.
Well, yeah. That's the thing.
It's like, man, this is going to be out.
And that's like a meeting. No. that it wasn't wrong, it was just that
That's all. Whereas now, I just buy the engine from them and sell the boxes on eBay for $15. It's just so different. And then with my collection, I'm not gonna say anything more because I figure they're 100 years old. They should look like it. Does that make sense? Although I bought one set of trailers, the first passenger car, it didn't have knobs, so it's 1912, I think. And the guy had added lights and props. So with those, I think it's a good one. First, swap all the cars back. When I look at it, he's got the wrong one. As soon as I find the right one. But that's well $2,000 set of trains. So you get rid of all the plastic film? Late 50s. Those are the ones with the busy lights.
Set up my funeral expenses. I said, "Okay, take care of that."
Oh, and it's the box that comes off? And it's in a whitish box?
How you doing, Dave?
Because I
Not bad.
remember my
One
dad,
day at a time.
71.
You know what? That's the beauty of being a retired person, is you get to complain all the
And
time
it came in
about everything,
box.
anything. Go to the store, there aren't enough clerks, don't have my stuff.
Call you drug dealer?
There you go. Now I get to be the grumpy old man. That's great. I love it.
Of course, you don't get away with it, but everybody else.
But, you know, there are people here older than me. I'm just a kid.
Well, those are your recent purchases.
I'm just a kid. Gotta get
Wait,
down to the
wait,
club.
wait.
What's that?
The way I was, $90.
I need to get back there. I keep making appointments and then not showing up.
I'm back to
I've got old man forgetful brain. Yes, yeah. Serious. You wake up and you say, well, yeah, today's Tuesday. And then my wife says, no, it's Thursday. She says, what the hell? Where did Wednesday go?
I got the ordinance in the car,
Okay.
2 of them.
Right.
He did bring him in there, so we have to go after the meeting.
After me,
Did you do raffle tickets?
Yeah, I put a hospital with all the furniture and floor on it.
Who's the lowest number in this group?
All in one lot. Got 3 blocks of the lot.
Who's the what?
Lowest TCA number?
Gosh, that wouldn't be me. I'm from 85.
You're bushier then.
Here.
Couldn't possibly.
See how time flies?
Couldn't possibly. 85. Check it on the right badge. Yeah. I did. Remember when Bruce Greenberg wrote that article about the missing TCA generation?
Oh, yeah.
How sign-ups dropped off. So I pulled up the latest, at that time, the latest TCA membership list roster that I had. And I stuck it into Excel and sorted by member numbers. And when he wrote that article, half of this division's members had joined after I joined the TCA. So it's real. That
We just lost. Well, when I moved here, the TCA meeting I went to was I remember the guy, seeing him and it was like inside or something. It was in his house. And I was coming from Philadelphia, and I was like, boy, this is very good out there.
I really miss the house visits we used to do, like your place.
Well, when we get the house on the market, we all clean up.
Good morning, everybody.
One last-
Huh? It's 10 o'clock already, believe it or not. We've got a couple people joining us on Facebook waiting for us to get on here.
Yeah, you get, decide to sell.
We're just waiting for the treasurer to get back in the seat.
Anybody else want raffle tickets before I send
See you later, Terry.
raffle tickets?
Come on out to the pavilion sometime.
Yeah. Hey, it's a sale. I never want to interrupt the sales.
Never let a meeting get in the way of the table sales.
Bye, Terry. Too bad we can't introduce him.
I'm just happy he was here. I'm surprised he was here.
I think what I have to do is find some more rare pre-war and then sell it to him and pick it up at the meeting. We'll just have him come to pick up his.
There you go.
Yeah,
That'll get him out.
that's it.
Did he show you the pictures of his layout he built?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's really cool. Taking after his dad.
All right, you guys done up here? Got all this financing done? All right, cool.
Got all these raffle tickets in. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the meet. We're a little bit lighter this month than we were last month. But we appreciate everybody showing up. We appreciate those of you joining us on Facebook. And we'll see you, we'll get it reposted on our YouTube channel when I get home. So it'll be on YouTube or do it on Facebook. Unfortunately, Facebook only lets us do Facebook Live with the camera in portrait mode. We can't switch it to landscape mode. So it kind of limits where we can do things. Angelo, are you ready?
Here,
All right. The membership report, please.
membership is steady at 185.
That's all you have. We have no guests here today. We had a guest. He just bowed out before the meeting started. For those of you who may not know Terry Gibbs. Terry is a TCA member. And he came in for the first time, so we're glad to have Terry and, stick his head in the door, and hopefully we can get him a little bit more active in the division again. Him and his dad were very active for many, many years. It'd be great to get him active in the division again. All right.
Announcement.
Oh.
While you're seated and drinking coffee or whatever, you take your mask off. Once you get up, that's come on. We changed that rule like last week. So feel free.
So if you feel comfortable taking your mask off, you can do that while you're sitting. But otherwise, leave them on. If you're moving around, most of us will probably leave them on. I'm at the gym for an hour a day, and I'm on the treadmill with this idiot thing on, so I'm pretty used to working with it. All right, ready for the treasurer's report?
Okay, Desert Financial, we have a 6-month CD, it's $20,000, $20,020.23. That means we got $20 in interest since 1st of July. And,
It's not bad.
have $191.05 in savings, $1,260.33 in the check.
Okay, any questions, Fred?
It's 12,000.
Did we resolve the issue, with the sales tax?
As soon as coming with as soon as that C3 comes clear from this IRS, then we can.
And that happens to be the next thing on the agenda. The update on the 501c3 is according to IRS does an update on their website every 2 weeks. The last update that they did showed they were processing, or they had processed applications through October 6th. Our application was, August. I've got October on my brain. It was August 6th. Our application for the 501c3 was submitted on August 16th, about 10 days later. They only update every 2 weeks, so hopefully within the next week or so, when they update, we'll be a little bit closer. They did say it was going to take 90 days because of COVID, so they're actually processing them a little bit faster. There can be a hang-up if they don't like what's in our application, or if they need more information, we'll get bumped out of the fast track. But hopefully we'll stay on the fast track, and we should have the determination letter from the IRS for a 501c3 status for Desert Division, hopefully by the end of the month. So that will, like I said, our PayPal account is waiting for that determination letter. We've got a lot of things that are waiting on that determination letter from the IRS to make us a true nonprofit. So hopefully that'll come through. Fred?
Is that federal or state?
No, we are incorporated in Arizona as a nonprofit. So that doesn't get a squat difference. Arizona says we're a nonprofit club. We applied for a 501c3 tax exemption through IRS. And that's the one that we need to get, a lot of services free with our budget and everything. We're trying to save money as much as we can. In this particular case, we spent money to save money because we'll get that money back on reduced fees through PayPal. So like on things for our auction and things like that, where we're paying a certain percentage to have those accounts processed, we'll actually be getting a little bit more money back into our kitty and not eating up those fees. Any other questions on the incorporation and the status? All right, the Fall Train Show. We're making progress. The progress that we have, one of the places that we are investigating is the parking lot right out front here. There is some shade where if you parked off on that side of the building, you'll notice there was some shade in that area. The key thing that we were looking for would be access to the restrooms, which we would need. And then a nice plus is the ATM machine. Somebody needs a little bit more money than what they brought to the train show, they can come inside and use the ATM machine that the Elks people have here at the lodge. The other place, believe it or not, is back at the Shrine Auditorium. Now, the Shrine, when I contacted them, they were very excited about the possibility of having us back. There is no shade at the Shrine. We would do the same distancing every other car spot. So you would pull in, it would be an old-fashioned tailgate. You would pull into your spot. You could set up a 10 by 10 pop-up. It's 8 feet, or a parking spot is roughly 8 feet wide. So that maintains the 6-foot distancing between vendors by having everybody every other parking spot. And you would have just that spot right behind your tailgate or right behind where you would park. A lot of the clubs are using this format back east. It's very successful. It would be on November 21st. That date is open, which is the same day as our train show. The plus is we are going back to the shrine next year. We were at the shrine last year, so we are maintaining people thinking of Desert Division having a train show at the Shrine Auditorium. Everyone getting into that habit. This is where that train show is every year, year after year after year. We really want to try to keep that. The downside is it's November, it's Arizona. It could be 50 degrees and windy. It could be raining. It could be 110. We just don't know. That's the, I'm saying 110, we know. It could be in the 90s by lunchtime. But it would be a 2-hour show, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Everyone pack up at 11. We clear the facility by noon. We're working on that one right now to try to see it. Like I said, the plus, if you ever come in the entrance on that south side of the building, I keep on getting twisted when I think about the Shrine Auditorium. But if you come in that south entrance, the restrooms are right inside the door, and there's an ATM right at the end of that hallway. Plus, plus, plus. So, you know, it looks like it's doable. The Shrine is very open to the idea of having us in the parking lot. So we'll have to see if we can pull this thing off here within pretty short order. I'm excited. I think we can make it happen. They're excited. They think it can happen. Fred?
What type of tables?
Whatever you can fit in the trunk of your car, you supply it. We're going to probably charge the concept that we're kind of playing with. I don't want to risk any division member or any division member's family for charging, you know, being there, trying to figure out putting a plastic guard up, face shield, all this nonsense for public. So it would be free admission. Just whoever walks in, gonna walk in. It's kind of hard to control that anyway at an outdoor meet. So they're gonna park in the back parking lot, and they'll just walk in free. We'll require masks in the general area of the tailgating. We're gonna charge either $5 or $10 depending upon what we're gonna get, you know, for a rental fee, whether it be for this facility or at the Shrine, and try to make our money back on just the entry fees from our table people. And then probably have a raffle on the side. We have some very generous donations, which I'll go into in a minute. We have some very generous donations. If we make $200 or $300 from raffle prize sales, you know, then that will be our profit for the show. The main idea is get people together again, get the stuff out there, you know, have a train show. We can do this because they're doing it back east. So that's what we're looking at. Paul?
Yeah, and I think that rather than, since I don't have a pop-up, but I have a patio umbrella and a stand, and at least we could have, I would assume, set up some partial shade in our spot. Is that right?
Yeah, whatever you can want to bring for shade, whether it be a pop-up or, we're not going to, our biggest cost on a rental is tables, you know, the indoor, the lighting. That's what our cost, that's why they, you know, trying to do a show is so expensive, because you're paying for the tables and all that. The Shrine is all reduced because all they have to do is open up the door for the restrooms and keep the restrooms clean. It's a parking lot. So, you know, you're going to supply, the vendor will supply their own table. If they don't want to supply their own table, they can open up their trunk or open up their van and just work out of the back of their van. So, you know, go back to the 80s. You know, go back to the old parking swaps. I mean, just go back to the 80s with the parking swap. I mean, I've been doing parking swaps, you know, for radio clubs and all my other clubs for years and years and years. And you just open up the trunk of your car and you work out of the trunk of your car. That's why, you know, we're only going to charge $5 or $10. There's no table, no nothing. Here's a parking spot, and let's see what happens. Jerry?
I can still use the trailer,
You're going to take up 2 spots.
but it'd be straight one way.
Huh?
It'd be one way.
No, we're only going to sell a spot. This is not, the original concept is that we would pull through and work the spot behind you. If we do the Shrine, we're going to only be, because of the limited parking, we're probably only going to be able to, you're going to have that one spot that you pull into.
Okay.
You're not gonna have a spot behind. We'll have to make sure that when we advertise for that, everyone understands. So, you know, you could do a trailer, but you're gonna get charged for 2 spots. And I don't know how you're gonna work out of your trailer. You know what I'm saying? I honestly don't know how you can work out of a trailer, you know, having 1 or 2 tables. Because you've gotta keep it within you can't broach that 6-foot limit to the next person on either side.
Of course, how much space behind your vehicle do you have?
The way that we're working at with the shrine, and would be very similar to here, is you're not gonna be able to pull through. And when you leave, if you look at the parking up front here, and Mark was the one that turned me on to this, if you go to the parking lot out here, the way what do you call those things?
Solar panels.
The solar panels are arranged, they're for solar panels. They're not for shade for your parking, they're solar panels. So they're aimed towards the south. You know, they're maximizing what they were intended for, aimed for the south. So there is a lot of sunlight that wasn't there when you started, that'll be there by the time you end. So, you know, that's one of the things, since we're looking at solar panels and the problems with the sun moving throughout the shift of the day, just abandon the idea of trying to find covered parking and just, you know, let people have a pop-up and roll with the pop-ups.
But is the back of your vehicle in the driveway?
No, you're just gonna pull in, and then where people would be,
So how much space do you have behind the vehicle to put the table?
a trunk space, probably a 6-foot table space behind your vehicle. I mean, you're not gonna be able to come in with a trailer like Terry wants to come in with his trailer. And, you know, I mean, Terry has a large trailer, wants to use, you know, typically it shows he has 4 or 5 tables. We have a lot of people have 4 or 5 tables. Most of us can make do with a single table. Just get selective on what you wanna sell and bring in stuff for a single table, put it in the trunk of your car and work out of the trunk of your car.
Can we do an 8-foot table? I mean, these are bigger than 8 feet, but.
This is an 8-foot table.
I guess the ones we have then are 6 or something like that.
We're not gonna sell tables. I'm not gonna get
I'm
involved.
just talking about my personal table.
Yeah, if you have a 6-foot table, you could put a 6-foot table behind your spot easily.
Okay.
You could probably put a 6-foot table on a card table. You know, make a little L shape. You could probably do 2 6-foot tables and work off to each side. You know, my mind says you can do it for $5.
No, what I'm just
You
trying to
know.
get a concept is, how big is the space measure that we can fill
It's
up?
gonna be immediately behind your car. I'll have to get some pictures and get them
So
out on
the car is here, the stripes are here, and then you've got the space.
You got that little space behind you, all right? That would people would
Do
normally.
they have spaces?
Because
like
that's where people are gonna be walking. There's not gonna be anybody driving in the drive portion of the parking lot. Okay, that's all gonna be pedestrian traffic. So as long as you work within that area right behind your car, it should work.
Are we skipping?
Hold on, John. Okay,
Are we skipping every other space?
skipping every other spot. We have to skip every other spot. Huh?
Could put a table on the side.
If you put a table on the side, then you're gonna be encroaching on that space, the 6-foot distancing between spaces. That was what the problem was. That's where the shrine was talking with me, how we're gonna maintain, you know, the 6-foot space, which is the primary reason why we can't do a show, because tables are boom, 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 right next to each other. Let me get John first.
Do I understand you correctly that you will have your vehicle parked in one spot, and then the spot that is immediately behind your vehicle is where you sell from?
No, not at the shrine. There's not enough spots for that. We're anticipating.
So you would have.
She asked me a number, and I said 50, right off the top of my head, 50 cars.
So you would have one spot to sell into,
One spot.
and you would have to park your vehicle
No.
somewhere else?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
You just have one spot.
If you want to do it that way, I don't have a problem with that. It's just going to make, you know, your bug out a lot.
You
It's a
just have
tailgate.
one spot, period.
One spot, pull your car in, set a table up behind your car, and roll with it. Yes?
You know, since you're having this, you know,
here's your table sales, here's an empty spot. Why don't you park your car in here, then you have the whole parking spot, and then the next person parks his car, and then they have a parking spot here. Then you've got plenty of area.
Gives you a partition too.
And it gives you your space.
Keeps people from
Dave, that's a
wandering
good
into
idea,
space.
I can run that past the shrine. They just want to make sure that we maintain the distance.
Well,
park the car.
Keeps
Okay,
people
so
from
there's a
gathering
car
around the
there,
space, too.
and then you have, you know, the spot next to it. I think they would be happy with that, I can bring it up with them. Okay, so the car would basically be your buffer spot between sellers. That's right.
Yeah, partition.
So, you
We
know,
do
and that's basically accomplishing
How we do it at
the
the
same
car
thing.
show. Use the cars as partitions.
All right? Again, this is in the very early stages of trying to still pull this thing off because we can't find any covered parking, which is what we started out looking for. All right? Any other questions on that? Okay. Let's see, the train auction for next month on November 7th is still on. I just signed the waiver on Friday with the Methodist Church. That is going to happen. It will be at the Methodist Church up on Lincoln Drive, and that is a go. So we will be finishing up allotting that auction. If you haven't gotten your auction catalogs, we have them here. For those of you joining us on Facebook, if you want one mailed to you, don't want to wait, you can get one mailed to you. Just send the money to Mark. Mark's address and everything is in our roster. We won't advertise it on the internet. And go ahead and get the catalog. There's a pretty good combination of everything from N scale all the way up to pre-war, post-war, Lionel. A lot of American flyer for the flyer people. There is quite a bit of American flyer in this auction as well. Bill?
Did you say there's catalogs here?
We have one for $5, $5, $5. Do I hear $5? I'm just like, that's Peter.
I got it. Yeah, I get it.
All right. And then you don't have to pay $5 at the door. So you can just show your catalog and get your bidder card.
I've done that before.
All right. Desert Division bylaws were approved Thursday evening by TCA National. Woo! We will probably publish them on the website and then have an electronic ballot for 99% of you who are now on our electronic distribution. There will be an electronic ballot. This will be after the first of the year. We do have to have them printed first so everyone can read the changes. They're not really that many. Steve Esack, raise your hand. Steve was instrumental in getting the bylaws done. We had 2 minor changes, and they were basically verbiage. The changes that TCA National wanted to make. Steve did a great job on rehashing. They flew through the state of Arizona when we submitted the bylaws to the state of Arizona for incorporation, and they had no issue with them. And like I said, TCA National was just basically some wording, and we changed the wording, and everything's fine. So we will have a vote in January for the amended new TCA or the Desert Division bylaws. Most of the changes had to deal with our incorporation and language that Steve knew should be in there for the incorporation that we never had in there before. And like I said, that sailed through the state of Arizona. So, Steve, thank you again for all your work to get that done. And let's see here. Okay. I'm trying to get time-wise here. I want to wrap this up because we've had a lot of stuff for the educational today. At the division board of directors meeting last Wednesday, the board of directors approved that all members in good standing for 2020 will not have to pay dues for 2021. You will have to maintain your TCA national dues, You still have to pay $50 to TCA National, but we will not be collecting division dues, which also goes to the chapter, but we will not be charging division dues for next year. We have received some very generous donations from former members and from the public in the last 12 months. And although we've been whacked with COVID and our expenses have been kind of like all over the place, the donations have been, like I said, just really have blown us away. And there was a motion, Paul made the motion Wednesday night, and we are not going to be charging dues. So if you join the club in 2021, you're going to have to pay dues. But if you are a member in good standing, all 185 people right now, your dues will automatically be extended for next year. If you are on our 5-year plan, we'll add a year to your whatever you prepaid. So we're not going to be charging dues for next year because 2020 was 2020. So it's a little bit, it's not much, but it's because your TCA National dues are very, very important. This is the only small way that we can pay you back for staying active in TCA National, and we appreciate everyone's support. But again, stay current with TCA National, and you'll have your free division dues for next year. And last thing, the other thing that we did on Wednesday night, we didn't get, Katie is here today. We didn't get Katie's permission, but we kind of figured that Katie wanted to run again for national secretary. And at the meeting on Wednesday night, the board of directors nominated Katie for re-election as TCA national secretary. And that was approved unanimously, or anonymously, or unanimous. Everyone said yay. So we will notify, Angela just got the minutes done, and I'll send those minutes off to TCA National and let them know that we have nominated Katie again for re-election as national secretary. So, yeah, let's see, I think that's everything I have. The rest of the stuff on my notes here is just stuff for the January. We will hopefully have an annual business meeting in January. That is required. We have one every year. We've always had one. We just don't know, that's 2 months from now, and a lot changes in 2 months, so we'll just kind of see how things go. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything? Fred?
What happened with York in April?
York is an Eastern Division meet. I know they are actively working on it. State of Pennsylvania is their biggest bugaboo. So I have not heard anything official. It's going to come, when it comes, it'll come from Eastern Division. So that's the best I can tell you. Do you have anything, Katie? No, okay. Yeah, we just don't know right now, and trying to plan for something, you know, a lot of us go back there, you know, for the meeting, we just haven't heard yet. The convention next year is in Irvine. That is still on. So the TCA convention next year in Irvine, California, which is in Orange County. For those of us not familiar with that area, it's Orange County, kind of like the Disneyland area. And that is still going on. The problem that they have with that convention is because California is so shut down, they may not be able to advertise their tours and all that kind of stuff in the January newsletter. Mainly because that has to go into the printer in November. So the printing deadline is like the middle of November for that kind of information, and they don't know if they'll have that stuff ready. But they are still planning on doing that convention next year in Irvine. That's still a go. There's no issues there. We just can't take registrations and things like that on. John?
I've got some friends' family who live in California, and the way California is operating right now with COVID is it depends on the county. if the county has got whatever the total population of the county is, if they have so many cases of COVID that is beneath a certain percent, they will have more freedoms to do whatever it is to do than the next county over who has a higher percentage of COVID. So right now, California, as far as what they can do and can't do, depends on the percentage of the people in each county of what they can do. So Orange County is not quite as many people as LA County. So there's going to be a little bit of a difference there. So again, time will tell.
Okay. Well, we had a national board meeting on Thursday night. We actually heard from the Western Division president, and he had a lot of confidence that the convention was going to be a go. His concern was that the registration period was going to be compressed, where normally the registration is January through June. It might be compressed because they're not going to be able to get the contracts and all this kind of stuff signed because everyone's in a holding pattern on that kind of thing. So the contracts, the registration for the convention might be a little bit more compressed than what we're used to. If you did not get your, I think it's too late. The convention card registration, I think, is closed right now. If you haven't bought your TCA convention cards, I think that was extended for last weekend, but I think that's over with by now. So, any other questions? Do what?
We have a guest.
Do we have a guest?
Yes.
Who's our guest?
Jeff Allen is a fellow elephant. He's interested in O'Gage, and I believe he's just post-war.
Well, you came to the right place. Hopefully we'll see you at the auction in a couple of weeks. If you want post-war, there's a lot of post-war in that auction. What up? What pointed? The ornaments?
The announcement, I have the ornaments for anybody who's ordered them in the car. So see me after the meet.
Yeah, Fred has the ornaments, like he said last month. He did bring the ornaments, so if you ordered the Lennox ornament that we were going to hand out at the Christmas party that got canceled, you can pick up your Lennox ornament today. For those of you watching at home or watching us on delay, we will have them, I will have them, and let me know. I can bring them to the auction if you're going to be at the auction. And if not, we'll make arrangements to get them to you. We will not mail them. I'm not going to go into the hassle of trying to mail a Lennox ornament, okay? But we will make sure that you have your Lennox ornament somehow, some way before the Christmas holiday season gets here. So, but Fred does have them, and we'll get them into club storage after the meeting. Any other questions? All right, we got a real good turnout here today for our educational segment. I brought all kinds of junk because I didn't know if anybody was going to follow through, and a lot of people followed through. So, Mark, why don't you start, and I'm going to move the camera so our people at home can follow us. You want to take the microphone? I'm going to get it without audio. Before you start, you move the camera.
Mike's not here. If you notice, we lost our cameraman from last week.
So let me move the camera so the people at home can see what the heck we're talking about. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, I was interested in short line railroads. The Daylight Sales doesn't have any short line, just the majors. So this company, Genesee and Wyoming, got bought out by an infrastructure fund. I said, I don't want to see this logo go away. So I took a picture of the logo, sent it to Daylight Sales, and I went through the problem of paying for the embroidery template. And so if anybody wants either one of these two lines, I'll get a little credit. But you can, if you had a railroad in your hometown, your backyard, that went away, got gobbled up, or just plain folded, they will make the logo. You have to pay for the logo. They'll make up whatever you want. They got polo shirts, whatever they got in this magazine. they will do this. And this is one that's from my hometown, Wharton, New Jersey. This is Morristown and Erie, ME. And again, I paid the freight for the logo, and they will, I just hate to see all these short lines disappearing because their logos are pretty nice. And like they have to be remembered. Beside that, there's a catalog here if you want to look and with the numbers.
Thank you, Mark. All right, Christy, I think you got the orange box. We're gonna go on the table.
Chris mentioned orange, and we were going through boxes of things for the January auction, and we saw this orange caboose. I thought, well, most cabooses are red. The Pennsylvania Dutch say the train's not done until the little red car goes by, or black or yellow. So this is an orange caboose, and I brought it because it's orange.
Is it Lionel lines? I didn't see it.
It's a Chessie.
Oh, Chester, okay.
I put my Spider-Man mask back on.
All right, who's got this guy? Oh, John, okay. 226. I didn't take a look at it. Beautiful.
You can move my orange box aside, but it makes it easier to show.
First of all, let me take my mask off so everybody can hear me. But I also have to get my cheat sheet, and I gotta get dressed here. The people that I bought this off of, this is a Blue Comet. Person that I bought this off of, I promised them that whenever I handled it, I would wear the gloves. So, trying to be true to my promise. Let me put the gloves on here. And what I'll do here to start with, well, this takes forever, is a Blue Comet was an actual real train. It was a service that was from Jersey City, New Jersey to Atlantic City, New Jersey. And it operated from February of 1929 until August of 1941. And it was a real train service, and it went up and down the Atlantic coast a total of 136 miles. All the passenger cars, it was a passenger train. All the passenger cars that was in there was named after real comets, celestial comets and so forth. There is a particular little history to the color scheme. There's the two shade blues, which represented the sky and the ocean water, and then the cream color represented the sand. Now, that was a very popular train, and in the early 30s, Lionel decided to do a standard gauge scale of the Blue Comet. And some of you are out there saying, well, wait a minute, it's not quite a Blue Comet because of the black locomotive. Well, what Lionel did is they did not make one set. In the standard scale, they made 6 sets. There was 3 of them that had the blue locomotive and tender. There was a set that had the gray locomotive and a set that had the black locomotive. Well, that ran its course until 1937. In 1938, they decided to make it into O gauge, a little cheaper for people to afford. And again, they did the same thing. They had a couple of them that was the blue locomotive and tender, and the grayscale and the black, as you see here. Now, I know the history on this. This particular train was bought in the Panama Canal Zone in 1938. I know the family that bought it. Depending on how you want to look at it, I am either the 3rd owner of it, or I am the 1st owner outside of the original family. The people who bought this was a construction worker in the Panama Canal Zone. In 1938, I don't know when he started, or when he left there, but I know he was there in 1938 all the way up to 1943, because the person who I bought this from is a deceased friend of mine who was born in 1943. His family consisted of 2 older sisters than himself, so his father, when he bought this train, either bought it for his 2 daughters or he bought it for himself. I don't know which. Most likely he bought it for himself. This is one of the Pullman cars. It comes with an observation car, and it also has a baggage car. Now, this friend of mine, I have known him since 1959, and he had it at that time. So I don't know when he actually got possession of it himself, and he's had it all this time. In February, I traveled to Florida just to buy this train.
Wow.
She would not, his widow would not ship it. She didn't have any means to come to Arizona to bring it to me or anything. I happened to be going on a cruise at the time, so I stayed a couple days past the cruise and made the trip to around Ocala, Florida, around in that area, and I purchased this from her, and then hand carried it on the airplane. So this is it, and like I say, depending on how you want to look at it, I'm first owner outside of the family, or I'm the 3rd owner of this. And it was from 1938, and it is all original. When I did get it, the plastic windows in the cars themselves was all yellowed and cracked or missing or whatever it is, so I replaced those. The little peacock design above the windows, that was all intact, so that is original. Everything on this is original except the polish that I put on it. I very carefully took parts of it, took it apart and hand polished each and every single one of them. And other than that, it's all original. And that's probably about my story.
All right.
Thank you.
Then Paul, I think you're next.
Well, one of the nice things about being a paper collector is that it doesn't take up a lot of space. At least each individual item doesn't. I have filing cabinets full of stuff that I've accumulated. And in going through some of my paper to kind of cull out what I would want to continue to keep and what I might want to part with, I started with the Lionel magazine. How many are familiar with the Lionel magazine? How many are familiar with Model Builder magazine? So just for your reference, the Lionel magazine was the precursor to Model Builder. And it was issued, first issue came in 1930, and it ran for 4 years till 1934, and then Model Builder superseded it. So one of the great things about being in the TCA and train clubs, the fun and experience that you have, stories you get to accumulate over time. And we had a mention of York. This saga began in York, Pennsylvania in around 1976, 77. Because I've always been interested in paper, and there was a guy there, Max Knockline, world famous paper collector, who would always have a lot of rare documents that were available in York. I didn't get this from Max, but I got it at York, and it is a bound volume of Lionel magazine, volume 4 to volume 6. So that's the last half of the publication run. And I said that's a good place to start collecting Lionel magazines. And so it has all of the magazines from that period of time bound. But the reason for telling this story is because once you make one step, then the next step is I better see if I can get the rest of the issues. And that resulted in a quest for Lionel magazines. And this is done before eBay. So I take more pride in accomplishing this before eBay was available. This was all accomplished by going to train meets and looking at the paper on the tables, looking for Lionel magazines. And eventually, within a few years, I completed the first 3 volumes to complement that. They are not bound. They're here. What's interesting, I've noticed, is that they're almost all folded in half. And I believe that was how they were mailed. Folded in half and then put into a standard size mailing envelope. I've never found one in the mailing envelope, but that's my presumption, just because they're put in that position with that crease. Now, I got to this point, I'm missing one issue. And the one issue that I am missing is volume 1, number 1. And I said, York, on the Billy Budd, it's amazing how you can kind of remember these things. At the Billy Budd meet, there was somebody had volume 1, number 1, but he said it's been sold. I said, how much? He said, $500. You have to realize this might be 1980 or something. I said, well, I'm glad I didn't get tempted to pay $500, but that became my reference point for the issue that I was needing. This is what it looks like. And for the happy ending to this, I was just going through a table, I think it was at Cal Stewart, and there was a bunch of paper, and there was this one. He wanted to sell the whole works, which was not a complete set, but maybe 8 issues, but it was maybe $100 for all of them. So I got this one as buying the other issues to complete the set. Now here's the third, just to how one thing leads to another thing. This is the third issue, 1930, number 3, volume 1, number 3. And inside, and that's what's fascinating about these things, and I did, this is pretty old fragile paper, I did scan these 2 pages. Here is Uncle Don's Radio Club. Now, that sounds kind of a little strange to us today, Uncle Don's Radio Club. But at any rate, Uncle Don was a head of the Lionel Engineers Club. He had a radio show in New Jersey, the best that I can say, and this was in 1930. And you became a member, they promoted his radio show, and by subscribing to the Lionel magazine, you would get a certificate that you were a Lionel engineer. So that subscription to the Lionel magazine would result in you getting a certificate and the Model Railroad Engineer's Handbook. So this was like the promo that went with the Uncle Don and the Lionel magazine. But the most interesting and coveted part, at least from my perspective, it's not the certificate, but that's way up there. But it's the little teeny pin label, Lion, that you get the pin on, that you're a member of the Lionel Engineers Club. And I lost this pin. I used to keep it in the back seat, passenger seat on the Lionel speedboat. When I'm going through the train room years ago and it's gone. And I'm going like, what? You know, I know no one would steal it. That's just not TCA-ish. I kind of go, what happened? Well, it's such a tiny little thing, and see, it's like 3/4 of an inch diameter. Well, in going through my paper stuff, I forgot that I had put it with the Lionel certificate on it, and so it resurfaced, much to my joy. And finally, one other thing that I had related to Uncle was this, and I think this might have been a catalog insert, but it's kind of the interesting paper that you know is rare and very little of it survives. But this is tell all your friends to listen to Uncle Don on the radio. And it's a fold out. The size of it is such that I think it might have been included in a catalog. But again, an interesting piece of paper promoting Uncle Don's radio show for the Lionel Engineers. So that quest for getting a Lionel magazine led to knowing about Uncle Don, led to finding out about the Engineers Club. And so that to me is that and the friends that you make along the way is what's really fun and fascinating about being in a group like this. Thank you. Any questions about this paper?
All right, thank you, Paul. I didn't know if anybody was going to follow through on the educational segment, so I brought a little bit of everything today. This is, and it's really nasty right now, because I was just looking at the camera, all right, the Facebook feed, and my wife is watching. So, you know, it's like having the elephant in the room. So, mute the phone right now, all right? This was my eBay purchase of the month. I've been trying to get, this is a Pride Lines convention car from the Valley Forge convention, and I've been chasing this car for quite some time. It actually came up on eBay, and there was like nobody bidding on it because it did not have the original box. So it just came to me all bubble wrapped up. But just to have the convention car, even though it doesn't have the box, it's not 100% everything. I was really just happy to finally end up, this was the last of the Pride Lines convention cars when Pride Line was making the TCA convention cars. This was the last one I needed. So now all I need is the box. And if I can find one in the box, then this one will go up for sale. But it was just a nice addition to have to the collection that I've been looking for a while. On the same thing of TCA conventions, for those of you who did not know, this was the Department 56 and TCA, for lack of a better word, memorial or the convention offering this year for the convention that never was. And this was made by Department 56. It actually comes in the Department 56 box. I think Southern Division may have one or two of these still left if you like the graphics and everything. I collect convention stuff, so I needed to have this to round out the convention for the convention that never was. I just like the graphics on it, and it's kind of unique because it does have the Department 56 logo as well as the TCA logo, as well as Southern Division's logo on it, so it covers all the bases. And again, Mickey Mouse a tie-in with the Mickey Mouse, so there was a little bit of a tie-in there. John, I hate you. Don't take it personal. But on my quest, John got me hooked. He didn't get me hooked. He started me on the variation of the horse cars. This thing has been a thorn in my side since it came out. It is without a doubt the ugliest horse car that Lionel has ever produced. It's only available in a set. I don't need the Budweiser set. And so the only way to get this particular car is on a set breakup. And again, my wife is listening, so I will not be looking in that general direction.
You gotta go home.
She said this morning, "Are you packing everything for the show?" And I said, "Oh yeah," and I just kind of quickly pulled this thing off the shelf and kind of wrapped it up real quick and stuck it in my bag. This is part of the new Blue Chief, Lion Chief set that Lionel was doing to have a Budweiser set out there, and they had to have this Clydesdale car. I'm sure the high cost of the set is because they had to pay the royalty fees to Budweiser for all that. But this is the final, unless they come out with another one. They will. It's like a mint car, they never go away. But this is one of the final cars.
Latest in the series.
Yeah, latest in the series.
Yeah,
That's
those
right.
are the Austrian, white
Something.
versus the.
Presenters?
Yeah.
For some of you follow me on Facebook, some of you don't, you know I'm kind of a true Lego freak. I do enjoy, I don't have the mindset that the guys do with the Cactus Brick where they can take and they do these, what's called a mock, my own creation, where they take a bunch of Lego pieces and put them together and come up with these fantastic things. I'm 70 years old. I can barely follow directions anymore. You know, I mean, it's that hard. But I have been buying, when available, the Lego City pieces. Have you ever seen the trailer when they take the trailer out, or when we take the trailer out to the preschool kids? I'll have the one side of the layout filled with all my Lego buildings. I have a Lego train set that goes around the Lego town. I've been chasing after this when I retired a couple years ago, and I didn't have it purchased. And so I've been chasing this one particular one. It was billed as being complete. It's not. There was a couple pieces that are missing, a couple pieces I had to improvise on. But it actually whirls and gigs and moves around. And it's just an attractive piece that I have. I have the Ferris wheel. And one of these days, if I get lucky, I may end up going ahead and buying the roller coaster. We have a line on the roller coaster to complete the amusement park there. Now, where's the orange? See, this is where I get my brownie points back. Remember I told you she didn't know about this part? There's the orange. She gave me Laurel gave me a piece of orange yarn. I said, I can't take the Lego because it has nothing orange on it. She says, here, put this orange yarn on it, and then you'll say that follow the theme of the meeting. So it's got a little piece of orange yarn up here. So we follow the orange theme for October and for Halloween. So that's the story. Let's get into the raffles.
One addition. If our trailer fits through there, would we entertain the idea of bringing our trailer out here to set up for the kids somewhere around Christmas if the trailer will go through that?
Yeah, I haven't heard yet. We don't know if Paradise Valley, the church where we're going to be doing the auction, we haven't heard if they're going to be doing their Christmas show. Sometimes, we did it last year because GCMR's trailer was busy up at the other show.
Well, I don't think that's gonna be an issue this time because they're pretty well to shut down.
Yeah, so everything is, but yeah, no, we love bringing the trailer out for the kids. So yeah, no, I don't have a problem. If we get it up here, it's a hassle, but. Let's move the camera once again. I should have knocked Laurel offline. That's what I should have done before I started all this.
Then you could have told us how much it costs.
Yeah, I didn't say how much it costs. You notice how I avoided that subject, right?
You should, when you leave home, you should put the parental control.
Yeah, that's it. Lock her phone off, right?
I was gonna ask you about the whiskey bottle up there.
That's my Jim Beam train. All right. Go to the bottom. All right. Oh, it's got a name on it. And that name is Katie.
Hey!
5354, Katie. 5350. It's got your name on it. I don't need the ticket. I didn't buy tickets and write your name on it. Trust me.
Thanks.
Pull me a ticket?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Away. All right, this has initials. WCH.
Yes.
5474. Oh, Mrs. Bill Harris. W. We're trying to throw everybody off, but we all know you as Bill, so you're right, W.
Well, it gets so complicated writing my entire name.
Oh, yeah, Bill. Bill's really complicated, Bill.
I can't see it.
That's okay. Draw me a ticket then, please.
Not too many
You
more
can
of
draw
those.
your own. All right. You did draw your own.
Did I really?
You did.
Put it back.
Then draw me another one. WCH on the back. 5475, and I just pulled out 5474.
Oh, good, this is no name.
This is no name. Oh, God, it is no name. 5453, no name. Thank you, Mr. Bill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we don't take pictures. We just, We just write your name down in the newsletter. All right, thank you, sir. Oh, this is a real no name, so those of you who didn't have a pen today, you're in. 5435, 5435, 5435. Oh, Paul.
Can you tell me, is this from the Albuquerque?
This is from the Albuquerque.
My son lives, it's one of the.
It's the clock from the Albuquerque.
Perfect. My son lives in Albuquerque.
With the battery, with the battery.
Can I interject? The 3 conventions, I don't know, Scribe or whatever, when we had the 1997 convention, Mitch Kuhn made for us these little clocks with a little stand up, a box like this. So when I was in charge of quote prizes for the Albuquerque convention, I suggested these clocks, thinking Mitch Kuhn could maybe make them. Made them for us for about $5, and I sold them for $25, and it was great. Had table prizes, etc. Well, Mitch Kuhn found to get the clock mechanism to make it work is $25, so his price was almost out of sight. But I sent a picture of it to Scott and Elaine Eckstein, and they had their local person actually make the big round clock, as opposed to ours, which has to stand up on a little pedestal, and it, with the battery, does tell time, and it has their logo in here. So this is like a reinvention of 1997. Congratulations on winning an Albuquerque prize that I had hand in design.
And since it's a clock, it means second hand.
All right, we have 3 left. No name on the back.
Sorry, I had to toss that.
5365, 5365, 5365. That's you?
That's me.
That's you. Okay. That's a me, that's a you.
I told you I was selling you lucky tickets.
Tickets are Mr. Secretary. I did see, I saw blank looks out there, so it might as well have been you. All right. No name on the back, 5419, 5419. Wow, we're getting $1 spread this out all over the room. 5419. All right, nobody else jumped up, so. All right, so who's ever left, I hope you like flyer. All right.
Just when I need another.
Roland, you didn't pull a ticket for me, so. Yeah. And don't pull mine. Until they're playing them.
You don't need any fly?
No, because I won this at the GCMR meeting 2 weeks ago. That's why I donated it back. All right, 5420, no name on the back, 5420.
That's mine, pull another.
You guys stuck the battle.
I don't need any more flyer either.
All right, this has got a hanging Chad just in time for the elections. Look at that big hanging Chad on the ticket. 5424.
Try again.
Huh?
Try again.
How many tickets did you buy?
I don't know, I gave Christy money, she gave me tickets.
She's like that.
All right. 5431.
Pull again.
I have an American flyer on the front table. Do I hear 5? 5, 5, 5, 5. Do I have... All right, here we go. $53.67. 53.67.
That's a new one.
Where's that other, what did we put away? We put the cake.
Here's Billy's, when you need him.
Yeah, you guys.
How come Bill Richardson didn't win yet?
Yeah, he's trying.
Yeah.
This one says Chris, 54.66.
Okay, that's the winner, he hasn't gotten anything yet. If you win something twice, you gotta keep it.
All right, nice even numbers. 5400. 5400. 5400. No one's gonna claim it, are they?
I would ask you,
Ralph's got it.
He's got, oh, great.
All right.
Yeah, like Angelo said, Lucky Richardson didn't make it.
Yeah. All right. right, well, thank you, everybody. We do not have a meet. This is our last meet of 2020. We do have the auction on November 7th and hopefully a train show on November 21st. And then we'll see everybody somewhere in the city of Phoenix in January. Thank you all. Thank you for joining us online.
Okay.
Auction
We don't
catalogs.
have your auction catalog. We have them up front too for $5. Yeah, go, I can give you a hand, Fred. Let me turn this off. Thank you for joining us online, everybody.
I gotta go kill this off.